Hey y'all, and welcome back to today's tumbler tutorial. I was completely inspired by this ad I saw on Facebook for this watch band, and as soon as I saw it, I knew that I absolutely had to recreate it on a tumbler. I started with this travel mug from the Steel Magnolia, and I spray painted it flat black, and we are going to do yet again another power wash. I told you I'm obsessed with this and I would power wash everything, but I really wanted not just plain simple black. I wanted some texture in there, but not a lot to take away from the drip design. So again, I started with just a light spritz of the power wash soap, and I went in with this dark, almost black color paint from Iron Lac. I built on this power wash. I did a dark black, like techie color, I think is what it was called. And then I did go in with some dark gray, but only because I wanted to build a little bit of color difference in the texture. And then I went in with some actual flat black Rust-Oleum. And then I also went in with no power wash soap and just kind of spritzed in some flat black to almost cover it up, but not cover it up. Then I just went back and forth. And one of the keys that I found in power wash is not going in full force, full coverage with the spray paint. When you put on the power wash soap, I more spritz it on in burst areas, not just full coverage every time. This kind of just helps build the different textures, I guess you could say, in that design. It builds it up to what it ends up being at the end. And again, like last week's video, I just continue to build on it until it is my desired outcome. And sometimes I'll just do one spot, sometimes I'll do the whole cup with the power wash, just until I get the look that I pictured in my mind. And on this one, I really wanted a black on black tone, but I added the gray in there just to give that little bit of almost like a shadow. But in the end, it all ended up looking almost like a cheetah print, which is even better because it completely goes with this design on the drip anyways. I'm sorry if this is way too much footage of me power washing, but I really wanted to show you that this is how I build on my power washes, is just a progression and multiple layers until I get that desired look. Now we are going to get into the fun part of this. I just took some regular epoxy. I did not use fast set because I tend to have that set up too fast for me. And I just mixed it like normal. And then towards the end of mixing, I added some of this hot pink mica powder that I had on hand. I don't remember where it's from. And then I used this glitter from Diamonds and Dust. It's called Spring Break. I just wanted a little bit of shimmer in that drip. So I mixed in the mica powder first, and once that was good and mixed in, make sure there was no clumps, I added a good healthy amount of glitter, and then I just mixed that all together. And then this is something new that I've recently, in the past few months, discovered that I really love for speeding up the thickness of my drips. I use cornstarch. Just start with a little bit. So I use those same little spoons that I got from Hobby Lobby, and I start with a spoonful at a time. I just add it into my epoxy mixture and then mix it up. And then the way to tell if it's thick enough for a drip is I just scrape it on the side of my mixing cup, and if it runs quickly, it's not ready. If it's starting to thicken up, I just keep mixing, and then be careful and just add a little more cornstarch at a time and mix and see if it's ready. If you end up adding too much, it will be a big clump of a mess. consistency that I'm looking for is that it's thick enough that it won't run down the entire cup, but it's still flexible and pliable enough that it will form a little bit of a drip. And once that's ready, I just take a popsicle stick because I find that's a little bit easier to spread it on. I grab a glop of it on my popsicle stick and I just put it around the rim while scraping it off at the same time. Be careful because I tend to make a huge mess. See, it's all on the inside of my cup, but that can be cleaned up later. And I just go around the entire rim and adding more where you would want a heavier drip and a little bit less where you'd like a smaller drip. I sometimes go back over if I want it a little bit thicker in some areas, and then at the very end I take a clean side of the popsicle stick and just scrape off the edge because I don't want it to be up over the edge. This helps keep it right at the rim, and then I bang it a little bit just to help it form that drip, and then I take my little torch so it kind of makes it run and kind of helps the double areas merge together as a single drip. And then if it's running too much too far down, I just turn the cup upside down for a few minutes and then flip it back over, just keeping an eye on that drip. In the end, I still had one drip that I didn't quite like, so I just took a paper towel while this drip was still wet. I wiped it up to where I thought it would be okay, and then I just cleaned off that area with my paper towel, and it was perfect. I forgot to add earlier that when I epoxied the tumbler before we worked on the drip, I added a little bit of Diamonds and Dust luster dust in pure to the epoxy when I epoxied the black power wash portion of this tumbler. And then once the drip was completely dry, I took a small paintbrush and some black acrylic paint, and I started painting on these cheetah spots. And as you can see here, I tried to get up close so you could kind of see how I'm painting them. I didn't drag the paintbrush across. I'm more like doing it in a pouncing motion. I just find that this works best for the odd shape of the drips. And I just went around the whole drip and applied all these cheetah spots. When I was done with all of those, I went back through and there was some spots that were a little thin. So I just went back over it with another coat of paint just to make sure that the black spots were very sharp and dark black. Then we got into the decal, and I got this SVG off of Diamonds and Dust website as well. And I felt like it went really well with this cup. So since this cup has a little of a lip edge, I cut it big enough so that the BU could be above it. And when I applied it, I tried to line it up so that the tiffle would be on the lower half, since it's, difficult to apply an SVG decal to a curved cup. And the reason you see me put on the white and then this pink is because for some reason this pink, it's not it's more of like a translucent almost. It's not completely opaque. So when I put it first right on the black, it wasn't as bright as I wanted it to be. So I thought it would be a good idea to just back it with the white so that the pink really stood out, because I really wanted it to just match with that drip. I found it was much easier to cut apart the pink vinyl and apply them one letter or little section at a time versus trying to apply it as one. think it was bothering me a little bit that you could see so much of the white area, so I just took a gel pen, and anywhere that I felt I didn't cover it up good enough, I just went over that white vinyl with this gel pen to kind of blend it in, and it worked really well. I tried a Sharpie, but it wasn't getting good coverage, so this gel pen worked perfect. And that was it. I gave it 2 more coats of epoxy, sanding lightly in between, and it was all finished. I love the way the power wash gave it almost a matching cheetah texture because it just blended so well with this strip. I hope that this tutorial inspired you in some way, and if it did, I would love to hear from you or give me a tag. And if you want to follow me on any of my socials, I have listed them here, and I will link them all in the description below, and I will also give you all the links to all the things in the description below. Have a great day, and I'll see you next week.